What's up, guys? It's your boy AC130 coming back again. I'm just gonna talk about some stuff coming up for the Pixelmon Harmony E4 Qualifiers. So essentially what's gonna happen is I'm gonna go over some pokes that are gonna be really common and potentially, build some teams, get some ideas, get some strategies down for you guys who might be struggling a little bit. So of course we're gonna put this down in anything goes to start off with. So I'll just call this Team Comp 1. Alright, first of all, I've actually got a little list here of most common legendaries that will be appearing, that I predict will appear. So first off, we have Deoxys Speed. Now, reason for Deoxys Speed is it's the fastest poke in the game. It's a very good support poke. So it gets access to, of course, extreme speed, which is pretty much a priority on this. You can run Taunt. You can, of course, they always come with the mandatory stealth rocks, because it needs to carry rocks, because it's built for support and not for damage. So there's not really much of a reason to have like superpower or spikes. Even though it's not horrific with stats, it's just that its speed is 100% the reason why you'd use it. See, there are some sets that I like to run, like knockoff. I can run knockoff Psycho Boost. Psycho Boost is just for a last ditch sort of all-out attack when you're about to be knocked out. But for now, I'm just gonna put Thunder Wave on as fast bulky support. Jolly. Alright, then we're gonna move on to number 2. And it's a particular variant of Arceus. It's E-Killer. So the most two common variants of E-Killer are Life Orb and Chopper Berry. There's a third one after that, which is Citrus, which is quite common as well, except Chopper's good. And I know that on occasion people like to run Lumberry because Arceus is just it's just one of those pokes that is just prone to being burnt. So for now, I'm just running Life Orb, so that way then it's going to be a lot easier. Run just the basic set, Extreme Speed. Then we're going to have the good old Swords Dance. Go. Then some. See, I like to run Recover, but for Citrus variants, they like to have Earthquake instead of Recover. And then there's also Shadow Claw. There we go. Some people run Adamant, some people run Jolly. The default one for this is Adamant, except I like to run Jolly, of course. Because in a battle of power and speed, speed will always win. Because the difference between something that's Adamant killing and something that's Jolly killing is very little. And if it's against itself, yeah, sure, it can be like a damage roll. Except if you're at the same stat, on the same HP, with the same item, but one is Adamant, one is Jolly, Jolly will kill all the time. Now, number 3 on my list is Marsh Shadow. Now, the reason for this is because, it's just a powerhouse. It's the biggest counter to Arceus that there is at the moment. So people will probably be running this set. So Spectral Thief, Close Combat, Shadow Sneak, and Rock Tomb. There's Rock Tomb, and then there's the Shadow Sneak as a fast physical sweeper. Now, Marsh Shadow acts also to counteract against Ho-Oh. Ho-Ohs that switch into this, well, that you should never have a Ho-Oh switch into this, because if you do, they get one shot by Rock Tomb. Even without carrying Life Orb, like you could carry Marshadium Z, like in Showdown formats, which is what I do. I carry Marshadium Z on my Ubers team. However, it doesn't quite work to be the same way. Then next on my list is going to be Yveltal. So because Xerneas has been banned, you'll see that Yveltal will has a lot more depth to it, because Yveltal can now act as the main counter to Marsh Shadow, because A Rock Tomb Technician boosted Rock Tomb with a Life Orb does not occur Yveltal, whereas an Oblivion Wing from just a regular old Yveltal will occur, since it doesn't have anything else that can, benefit it or guarantee that it's gonna live. Now I like running mixed. Give me one second. Alright, so Yveltal is one of those parks which is sort of awkward to at first use, but as soon as you get a hold of it, with its very niche base 120, 131 in each attack stat, it becomes a lot easier to understand as soon as you start using it more and more and more. However, this is the set that I personally would run in this instance. I run Oblivion Wing. It would either mix between Sucker Punch and Dark Pulse. You'd go Dark Pulse for special, U-turn, and I'd go Focus Blast, and then this will be a hasty set. It doesn't prioritize Sucker Punch. Hello. Okay, you do that. Okay. Yeah. So essentially, after that, is we have the next perk we have on our list today is Lugia. Now, Lugia is one of the pokes that that has a love-hate relationship with a lot of people, and that is because Lugia is just a bulky poke, and a lot of people run the following sets. They run the Whirlwind, Toxic, Sub, Whirlwind, Toxic, Sub, and Roost set, so that way then they don't take super effective thing. Like, it shouldn't be a support set. Realistically, you should be max HP, max defense, remainder and Spadef. I'm just gonna give. There we go. And then it's gonna be bold. Like, that's the set that most sets use. However, the set I use is one of the offensive variants. So I run Psyshock, Aeroblast, Calm Mind, and Recover. Because I know that I feel like people who run, well, this is not doing it right. Modest. Like, this is okay. So this is the set that I run. So Modest with Psyshock, Aeroblast, Calm Mind, and Recover. Yes, Steel types do wall this. However, when you get to +6 against a Steel type, it doesn't really matter what perk it is. They will die in 2 or 3 hits unless they have accessible recovery. So, Pokemon that would. So the only poke that really walls this out that is actually on my list is Dialga, who I will be covering shortly. But for now, I mentioned it earlier, but Ho-Oh. So Ho-Oh, there's going to be only 2 variants of it that will be coming around: Choice Band and Life Orb. I run Life Orb. Regenerator, Brave Bird, doesn't need to really explain the set too much. Sacred Fire. I run Recover, just that way then, just in case I feel like I'm going to get Pursuit trapped with low HP. And then I'll be like coming into rocks damage below half. Then I'll just simply recover on the spot. Adamant, nah. This is what I don't like about the sets of Showdown, is that they do get a lot of the sets wrong a lot of the time. Alright, so there we go. That's the set that I'd run, and I'd run that for a top 10. So the only issue with this top 6 is that 3 are flying types, so Marshadow just literally walks in and Marshadow kills all 6 of these perks after rocks. And then with a Marshadow with an opposing Marshadow is going to be very difficult. Alright, so team number 1, top 6. And then we're going to go into my next lot, which is going to be second 6. I'm going to call this. So this is just AG. Hold on. Yep, cool. I left it. I made it AG. All right. So the next list on the list is Dialga. Here we go. Dialga is going to be quite a good pick for this because whilst it doesn't exactly counter Xerneas, it does counter all Earthquake lacking variants of E-Killer Arceus and then threatening it out. So usually I run Assault Vest because I try to run this as a Xerneas check and counter, except it doesn't quite work. Pressure, you don't want Telepathy. Telepathy will not work with it. So Aura Sphere, I usually run Dragon Pulse, but in this instance I'll run Draco Meteor, Earth Power, and Flash Cannon. That sort of just allows it to put in more work. Of course, you gotta love a shiny Dialga. It doesn't look too good, sadly, on the server. That's the only downside. Alright, then we have Giratina. Now, the reason for this, there will be both sets, so I'll cover both variants in this. So I'll just run regular Giratina for now. So pressure. Alright, so people would probably run. The most common set that I'd see is the Will-O-Wisp, the Rest Talk set. So Rest, Raw. See, I used to run Dragon. Actually, you could run Dragon Tail 100%. No Xerneas means that there's nothing here that can walk into the Dragon Tail and then just nullify Giratina completely. Then we could put Hex on it as an alternative as well for the final move, which I generally ran. I ran Defog because it's got so much bulk behind it that it doesn't have anything too bad to fear from a lot of parks. Like it can 1v1. Like that set will 1v1 a Mars Shatter and will win probably, I'd say 85% of the time. Granted that you don't miss the Will-O-Wisp, because a Spectral Thief from it would probably, I'd estimate, does about 50% to non-physically defensive. But after Lefty's recovery, you will probably live a second one in order to get a second Willow off. But then you'd have to sack Giratina off. Alright, on the next list is, well, I'll go Giratina Origin now. So the offensive set. So Shadow Force, Earthquake. We're gonna see. I'm not so sure about Outrage. I guess I can put it on for now. And Shadow Sneak. There we go. Giratina is not the fastest Pokemon in the world, so therefore it takes heavy pride in its HP and attack stats. Alright, now we're moving on to Mewtwo. Now, Mewtwo, with any of its 3 variants, Life Orb, Mewtwo X, and Mewtwo Y. The most common 2 will be Life Orb and Mewtwo Y. So I'm going to go Mewtwo Night Y. And then we went X there with Pressure. A lot of people run on Nerve, which it's not as good as Pressure. Just in case you don't want to Mega for a turn, you want to make them waste some PP on that critical stall. There's a lot of sets around for Mega Mewtwo's. However, my one is just simply this, just Aura Sphere, Side Strike, Recover, and Shadow Ball. It counters every type that would block it, so Dark types get countered by Aura Sphere, and then, even if they're like, a Sableye coming in to face this, Shadow Ball still does a pretty good job of hurting. Once again, Showdown has made a mockery of this. Like, you could run Modest on this and then have it just wreak havoc, but Timid and that just allows it to outspeed everything that threatens it. Let's see, 2 spots left. Alright, I can cover the last 2 on this list, which came for a tied 10th, and that was Rayquaza regular with Life Orb. Since you can't Mega Evolve it in this tournament because, of course, I banned it, I'm gonna just build my ideal set, which is this, the Hasty set, because Hasty Rayquaza, even though it isn't Mega, with Draco Meteor being its only special move, it does still check a lot of physical counters to it. And then finally, we have another Poke that has its alternate form banned, Kyogre. So when they're pretty much not primal, they're scarfed. So, and then it's pretty obvious from this point what it's going to be: Ice Beam, Origin Pulse. We've got Water Spout and Thunder. That's the most common set. However, I know that whenever I have a primal Kyo, I know a lot of people then start trying to run physical Kyo, which honestly throws a lot of people off because, chances switch in just being like, oh, I can, live this easily. I can threaten everything. And so I decided to take the physical approach with Liquidation, Earthquake, Ice Beam, and Thunder. Ice Beam and Thunder are just there for coverage, with it being a jolly nature, so that way then, if it comes in after a Primal Groudon, it can come in freely and Liquidation it for 4 times effective damage, but a lot of the time they will switch out just so they can get their Desolate Land back up. So yeah, those are the top 10 most common legendaries that I would put into this tourney. So most, like, Deoxys will be the most common lead. Marshadow and Arceus will be, these three will definitely be in pretty much every single team. Because if you don't have Deoxys speed, you will have Marshadow and Arceus. That is without a doubt. As for a successful team that I would build, this is definitely what I'd run for this tourney. I would run the Deoxys speed lead, when I could spell it, with Focus Sash, Pressure, Thunder Wave, Taunt. Taunt is just in case you win a speed tie against another Deoxys speed. And unless they're Mental Herb, then you should pretty much be able to beat them up after that. Alright, Deoxys, Marshadow, definitely Marshadow with Life Orb. And then of course with the regular set of Shadow, Sneak, Shadow Speed, Sneak, Spectral Thief, Rock Tomb, and Close Combat. Fast Physical. Alright, then we've got Arceus with E-Killer. I've known Arceus E-Killer it just comes in late game. When played right and you put it in late game, it's just really hard to counter. And I've got Shadow Claw. Now the reason why I'm not going Shadow Force, just give me one sec. Jolly. I'm too lazy to put J in. There we go. Scrolled over it about 4 times. Sure, let's put that there and put that there. I like running everything for 1 investment in HP. Alright. Finally, we're moving on to the last legendary that I would use, and quite frankly, I would pretty much go with Yveltal at this point, or I'd go with Lugia, and I'm going to go for Lugia. Because, and then with my offensive set of Aeroblast, Psyshock, Carmine, and Recover. Once again, it goes physically defensive. No, that. And then 1 investment into speed. Running M for Modest. Alright, that's my 4 legendaries done. Now with that team, you can see that I've got a pretty well established core unit in these 4. Now my 2 regular pokes would have to keep up the pace. and be able to apply heavy pressure, because this team is very hard hitting. So with the Deoxys, Marshadow, and Arceus, I've got a team here that really fights off a lot of common pokes so of course other Arceus are dealt, but pretty much all the 4 pokes that I have currently can all be killed by other Marshadow, of course. So I'm going to need a poke that would wall a Marshadow no matter what. So for that, let's scroll through and let's see if we can find a poke that, as we say, does its job for killing Marshadows. There is the option of Greninja, but it's 3 base speed slower. So unless you either sash it or you scarf it with extra sensory or something like that. Even with extra sensory, it still probably wouldn't work. You could risk the Mimikyu play, and that would definitely hurt you. For now though, I'm gonna go Rotom Wash with leftovers, because Rotom Wash I believe can tank any hit from a Marshadow. So gonna run the Hydro Pump. I'm gonna put I won't put default because I'd probably want a spinner instead of a hazard setter. Hydro Pump, Will-O-Wisp, Volt Switch. I usually run Pain Split, but I'm gonna put Hex onto it. I'll take off Hex, and I shall put. Actually, I'll just leave Hex on it. I like the idea of being able to double damage with Hex. Whew. Let's see. Now, what my team suffers from the most currently doesn't really suffer from a massive weakness. I guess I'll just try and grab another counter to Marshadow, which could be in the form of like Scarf Thunderous with a modest nature would deal a lot of damage, but of course, since I've already got my 4 legendaries, I wouldn't be able to use it. Weavile Speed Ties at best, I believe. Yeah, Speed Ties at best. So we're gonna need another poke. So I'd usually go with Ferrothorn, and that works beautifully in the team. Except I'm not so sure about how it. Actually, I'd presume a physically defensive Ferrothorn would be able to put in work late game. However, we've already got a Rock Setter and Deoxys, so unless I took Deoxys out and put Ferrothorn in as a hazard setter, which I'll do, leftovers, Iron Barbs, gonna run Gyro Ball, knock off Leech Seed, and Stealth Rock. Where's Stealth Rock? Here's Stealth Rock, physically defensive, relaxed nature. Alright, Deoxys. For now though, I'll take Deoxys off, so that way then I can get it. That way then I've opened up that legendary slot as well, again. And I could go for the Landorus play. The Landorus Therian, actually. I like that idea. Landorus, I run Choice Scarf, personally, because a lot of threats that come into it are generally slower, with the exception of, like, Weavile and Cloy. Actually, yeah, a lot of prior users would, with Ice Shard, do threaten Landorus out without by hard switching, but it still puts magic in. Like, hold on, I sometimes like running Superpower, but I run U-Turn and Rock Slide. Rock Slide's just very niche in the set if you predict them to come in. Bang, that's pretty much the entire team that you'd ever need. Let's see. Alright. Top weakness here is I have 2 weaknesses to Ice in Landorus and Lugia. However, Rotom and Ferrothorn both sort of cancel it out, and Marshadow works beautifully in tearing it down. Arceus acts as support, and as you can see, a lot of my team is physical, which does hurt a lot. So you could toy around with some stuff like putting your Veltal in as well as an alternative. Hold on, I'm just gonna import export the team. List, new team, import export, save. Alright, sweet. And then I'm gonna put not lender, so I'm gonna put your Veltal in. Alright, now I'm gonna run the Life Orb with Dark Pulse. I'm gonna make this just special attacking variant. Dark Pulse, Focus Blast. There's the potential to run Roost here. There's a lot of potential with Roost. Yeah, I'll run Roost because I like running. I actually run a different Yveltal set, and that's slightly unorthodox, which I'll build real quick. I did not mean to click validate. Alright, so this would be a super fast Yveltal set that I use on Harmony, which if you see me use it, then or if you see me bring a Yveltal, you'll know it's this set. But essentially, it's Big Root, Dark Aura, Dark Pulse. I then run Sub, Toxic, and Oblivion Wing. And then I run Calm Natured, Specially Defensive. That's it. It doesn't need to go out of its way to KO perks, because that Oblivion Wing as stab does a lot of damage. So I hope you all enjoyed this bit of a tips and tricks video for you. If you guys want, I can build more strategic teams, and I can also reflect on tournaments and how certain upsets can be made, and But for now, this is the team that I'd go for. Because 4 legends, yep, that's all qualifying for us for the Elite Four. Landorus works beautifully to actually knock off Mars Shadow because of its Intimidate dropping. Mars Shadow acts beautifully to counteract a lot of perks. It kills off E-Color Arceus. You have to be careful though, because if that Mars Shadow is at if that Arceus is at 100%, when that Mars Shadow switches in, Mars Shadow will not win the matchup because the close combat does not occur, sadly, but it does deal about 90%, 89%. And just for the sake of showing, damage calculator. Right, so I'll grab the Showdown damage calculator, and as soon as it loads in, here we go. And I'm going to show with Mars Shadow, Uber Life Orb Attacker versus an Arceus. I don't personally believe it kills. Wait, oh, it's Arceus. Oops, it went Arceus bug. Arceus, Uber Extreme Killer. See, yeah, close combat. Oh, it does a lot less than what I thought. However, that's with a Chopper Berry and max HP. If you drop all that down and put 1 investment in and then speed, yeah, you'll be in a lot of strife if you're not too cautious with this. Oh, right, because it's also probably taking, yeah, Chopper Berry. So that's only if it's a Chopper Berry set. Whereas if we were, I'm just going to go other or none. There we go, it does occur. So without that Chopper Berry in the way, apparently it does occur. The more you know, except, yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed. And all I gotta say is, happy battling. And make sure that you don't do anything crazy. Well, or that you do, because sometimes crazy is what saves your lives. So for now, peace out, y'all.